Is it 6 o'clock, guys? Is it? Yes? Okay, we are ready to go. Welcome back to Dress Your Face Live. I'm here with my amazing model, Miss Layla Milani.
Hi, guys.
You guys know her from my Instagram page and my Facebook page. You know that I love her hair products. You probably have her hair products already. And now here she is in the flesh right in front of you live. And we get to share some little secrets we have up our sleeve with you guys right now. So welcome, Layla. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. All of our pleasure. So I'm going to actually, before we get started, I want to remind you what this class is about. This class is going to go over specifically in detail how we get that glow, that beautiful radiant from within glow. Not that glow of just, oh my God, she has so much highlight on her face out of nowhere. It's a glow that looks like she's actually radiating from within. And I want to show you how I do that. Before I show you how I do that though, we have to have a perfect base. I prepped her already, but I do want to make sure that for those of you who missed my last class, that we go through a little bit of a review with you. So I'm going to review each of the steps and hopefully you guys can catch up to speed on this. I am also, for those of you who asked, for new members who missed the contouring class, if I'm going to go over those things again, I will constantly be reviewing, reminding you guys about the review for it. I'm going to be reviewing the tips and the techniques and the products that we used in that class, but I'm also going to be repeating some of the topics from time to time. So I'm not going to leave you guys behind. Don't worry. I know that class was really important to you all. It's important to me too, and I'm going to be reviewing it like as much as I can. But you know, don't worry. You're not going to be lost in this class. We're going to do a review right now. So whip out your papers and your pens and write down as many notes as possible. And then later on, during the 72 hours of the recording that's up on your pages, you'll be able to actually practice while you watch us do it. So in this case, just write down a ton of notes, please, and then you can practice later on. So as a review, this is what I used on Layla, and it's similar to the things that I used on Laura Govin from the first show that we did. The first thing that I do when I do the face is I do the primer. And the primer that I use is with no SPF and with no shimmer. I don't really use a lot of BB creams often. I mean, I've used it and I thought it was fine. But you'll notice I use products quite heavily and I like to layer on a lot of products. So basically whatever's in the base of the skin isn't going to really show. So why bother with all these like fancy stuff on the face when it's not even really going to show at the end? So I typically just use like the MAC Prep and Prime with nothing special in it, you know, just basic primers. Even the Modus primer is really nice. The Lancome primer is really nice. It's just silicone-based primer. It's really smoothing for the skin, especially when you're working with people with uneven skin texture. So after primer, I go right into the foundation. I use this foundation brush here for the foundation. It is, I believe it's number 157 or was it 187? It's totally rubbed off. That's how much I use it. But you'll know it's a larger stippling brush from MAC. A lot of companies have this brush, and basically I just stipple it onto the skin as so, and I create a full coverage. Now after foundation, I go right into concealer. I use any small concealer brush for that, and I just stamp it right under the eyes until it has disappeared into the foundation. I want the concealer to be a thin layer, but a full coverage layer, and that's why I always stamp rather than swipe. Swiping is basically removing everything you're putting on. So my biggest advice is start stamping your products on, stippling it on, and layering it on that way rather than putting on globs and then having to blend by swiping. So once the concealer is on, then I go right into the highlight and contour mapping. I'm sure you guys have seen the pictures all over my Instagram of where the highlight goes, where the contouring goes, so I'll let you refer to those photographs for the diagram. But the products that I use is the LA Girl Cosmetics HD Pro Conceal. I typically like to use Creamy Beige for the highlight and Beautiful Bronze for the contour. And I basically just highlight like a triangle under the eye and then the T-zone. And then I contour the side of the hollow of the cheek and then the side of the forehead, as well as the jawline and the sides of the nose. So depending on how much contour people like, you can blend more or blend less. I don't like to blend too much. I like to just push stuff in until it melts. That's my blending. I don't rub back and forth. I don't want to remove all my hard work. I mean, what I want is a flawless Barbie face for all my clients. And to achieve that, you need full coverage product. So after the HD Pro Conceal with setting the areas, the highlight and the contour, putting those in place and then blending them in, the product, by the way, the brush that I use to blend it in is this one. It's the baby version, the number 130 of the MAC foundation brush. This is the baby one. And I just use it, I just stamp it into the area that is being blended, and it actually just melts it right in. So that's what I use, and then once I'm ready to set the products with powder, I actually use MAC Studio Fix powder. I know it's considered as a foundation as well. It's a foundation powder in one, but you know what? I like cake on cake on cake. So I'm going to use it.
You like cake.
I like cake. And more than one kind of cake. And so I want full coverage. And again, I want my girls to look like Barbie. So check out Layla. She now has everything on except for the next few steps that I'm going to tell you next. So again, the review I just did from the last class of what we went over. And the biggest secret that I have, I'll just let you guys have it since you're here, and I am thankful that you're here. The secret of that whole contouring and highlighting thing is not to set all the contour and highlight cream part with one color powder. You want to choose 3 color of powder. You want to choose a light color powder that's going to set all the highlight zones, a darker color powder to set all the darker zones, like the contours, and then a medium powder to set all the in-between zones. So basically, all the in-between zones have been set on her already. All the highlight contour has all been set on her already with whatever we went on during the first class. I already did it on her. But now, how do we bring this to the next level? That's what this class is about. She's completely mattified, and there's no color on her. We haven't done blush. So the next thing that I'm going to do right now is actually bronze her up a little bit, give her a little bit more of a sun-kissed glow. Even though we've already contoured, I want to add a little bit more of, the bronze effect, something just very exotic looking, since I know that that's something that you guys all are, would like to achieve once in a while, especially now that summer is kind of coming to an end. We want to hold on to our summer tans and our summer glows a little bit longer. Unless you're in LA like us, we have summer basically all the time. But anyway, so we're going to show you how to do the bronze thing, and then after that, I'm going to show you how I bring the highlight into play, and then I'm going to show you the blush, and it's going to be just so amazing. So I hope you enjoy this. So first things first, I'm going to show you the bronzer, and I typically like to use the darker colors from the Anastasia Contour Kit to give me a good bronze as well. So from the contour class, I whipped out my contour kit, and I like to use some of the darker shades. I actually customized this particular kit. If you guys would like to know the colors, this one is Banana, the lightest one. It's the one I used under her eyes and on her highlight zones. And then this one is called Golden Peach. I'll bring it closer so you guys can actually see the color. So this is Golden Peach. It's a medium tone. And then I have this orange one, which is called L'Orange. And it is basically just an orange powder. It's meant for a corrector. It corrects grayness in the skin. And then I have these 3 contour shades down at the bottom. So the lightest of the contour, oh god, I think it's called Fawn. It doesn't have a label on it because I took this from the original kit that I had. And then this one is Havana. And I use these 2 a lot. I mix these 2. And then this darkest one is called Carob. I use that for really, really, really dark contours. So there you have it. Those are my secret colors, which are not a secret anymore. And we're going to go in with the Haku Hodo brush. I did use this already on her for her contour, but I'm going to add some more of the bronzing product for her. And this is Haku Hodo brush in number J5521. And I'm going to go right into Havana. This is going to be her bronzing color. And I'm just going to add a little bit more punch into her contour zone. So I basically want to make this a little bit more, I'm going to turn this a little bit more bronzy. I'm going to move the camera a little closer so you guys can have a better view and now see all the detail that I'm doing. So hang on one moment. Maybe I'll move it this way. Maybe you can bring this in. Perfect. Okay. I hope that's okay for you guys. Okay. So we're going to bronze mainly right in here. And I'm just swooshing it. The cool thing is I've already put on the powders on her face, the lighter powder, the medium powder, and the darker powder. So now adding just a little extra bronzer will blend right in, and we don't have to worry about blending so much. So right now we're just adding a little bit more definition. This is if your clients want a more bronze look. Some of my clients tend to want to go for a little bit of a softer, more believable, or more natural contour, and in that case, I don't over bronze. This is an optional step for the clients who want to take that extra step and go super glam. The angle in which we are applying this is from the top of the ear towards the corner of the mouth. But we are letting this product disappear before it even hits close to the mouth because I do not want it to connect all the way. We don't want to create a very long face. We just want a little bit of a height here. So we're just like really digging in with our brush and creating a nice soft glow here of bronze. So I don't know if you can see that. Maybe we'll turn you from side to side. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Nice glow, beautiful, love it. And now what I'm doing is there's really nothing left on this brush, but I'm just rolling the bronzer up a little bit. I'm gonna turn you this way, sorry. Here's the line, and I'm just rolling the bronzer upward so that it can blend in to the previous line, okay? I'm gonna do the same on this side, just rolling it up. How do you guys like her hair? Isn't it gorgeous? My friend Laura K, she's on Instagram as well as Laura, and then C, and then K-A-Y. And she is a celebrity hairstylist, and she was here earlier today prepping Layla Milani for this and giving her that classic Hollywood wave that she's known for. So now that the bronzer is done, we can now give her that highlight glow. And that's the part that is a huge little secret that I've been hiding from a lot of, obviously YouTube back then. I didn't really know this, but it's a little secret that I have, and I'm so happy to share it with my students. My one-on-one students know this because now that I've changed my way of doing highlight, my newer students have seen it and have practiced it, and now you guys get to do the same thing. I whip out some of my favorite highlighters, and I'll show you the different ones that I have, and I actually do not use a brush for the highlight anymore. I used to use a brush, like a flat foundation brush, to do the highlight. Now I use my fingers. I like the warmth of my finger, and I just literally roll it on the skin without pressing hard. I'm just gliding it on the skin, like letting my finger do the work with no pressure. And it glides the product on the skin. And I don't use cream product. I use just powder shimmer. And it makes it look like a cream. It makes it so beautiful, as if she is actually just glowing through her product. So I'm going to share with you some of the highlights that I like, and then we'll use one of them. One of the ones I recently got is from Girlactic. Girlactic Beauty is on Instagram as well, and this is one of the highlights that I love. It's called Face Glow in Natural. They also have a Face Glow in Bronze for deeper skin. And I'm going to show you how it looks on me. It's so creamy and beautiful. So that's probably going to be the one that we're going to use on her, but I want to share some others with you as well. I have a bunch from Becca. Becca Cosmetics is also on Instagram, and I found out through one of my students actually about this company, and they had purchased it at Sephora, so I went to Sephora.com and bought every single color that they make in their highlights, and they're also very nice and creamy. And I'm going to show you this as well. This color is called Moonstone. It's also very silky and very refined. So that's Moonstone. It's very similar, actually. It's just a little bit lighter. And then I have others like Opal, for example. Opal is another color from the same company, Becca, and they have it's like a little bit. Well, it's perfect for its name. It's called Opal, and it has a little bit of iridescence to it. This is what it is here. It's just like kind of like a champagne beige. And that one is just a little bit more on the golden tone. And then I have another one called Rose Gold, which is basically rose gold. This one's new. And I just bought it because it was on back order for like months. And I finally got the email from Sephora that it's back in stock. So I went ahead and bought it immediately. And this is how rose gold looks. Right there. So they're all very similar, just the tint is a little bit different. So we're going to use the original one that I tried on my hand. This one here. This is the Galactic one in Natural. It's called Galactic Face Glow in Natural. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to turn your head a little bit this way. This is perfect right here. And I'm going to apply some on my ring finger because that finger does not have a lot of pressure. It's not a very strong finger. So it doesn't have a whole lot of pressure. Like if I would have used my index finger, I would have naturally just been applying it with more pressure, and I don't want to wipe off any of the work that I've done on her previously. So I'm using my ring finger, and I'm just very lightly rubbing it right into her skin, on the top of her cheekbone, on her orbital bone right here, and I'm just rolling it towards her nostril. And I'm going to do this in a couple of layers to build until I'm happy with the effect. And I'm just rolling the edges so that you can't really tell where it starts or finishes. And then go ahead and turn your face a little bit. See that beautiful, beautiful glow? Oh my God. It's just breathtaking, and it looks like I didn't even put that much powder on her. It looks like we used a dewy foundation. That's what I want it to look like. I don't want it to look like, oh, what highlighter are you using? I want it to look like, wow, you look radiant. Like, I don't want my clients to go off and feel like it's just their makeup that's just kind of sitting on their face. I want them to be one with the makeup. I know that sounds really, really corny and crappy, but it's true. I want them to feel the makeup. I want them to wear the makeup, not have the makeup wear them. So this way, I'm giving my clients a very smooth finish, and it looks like they are literally glowing. So I'm going to do it again from the other side, so you can see this way. And turn a little bit more. Yep, beautiful. So I'm just rolling it with my ring finger, just rolling it down, and it's creating this beautiful glow right on the bone. So how do you know where to put it? Basically, I find the peak of the bone, which is usually going to be right along the orbital line, right here, right around the eye. And then I don't want to put the shimmer right under the eye because it'll look very, very creepy. So what you want to do is kind of make a line going towards the nostril. So you know how what we did here with the bronzer is we took it from the top of the ear towards the corner of the mouth? I'm going parallel to that and just going maybe an inch higher and going from the orbital bone up on the outer part of the eye and taking it towards the nostril. And now I'm just kind of rolling over the edges so it looks like it's just blending in. So I'm going to have Layla go ahead and turn her face and show the different angles of this glow so you can see it really come to life. Oh my God. It's taking my breath away right now. I love it. It is very beautiful. So again, to those of you who missed what I'm using, this is Galactic Beauty. That is the brand name, and it is called Face Glow, and the color is called Natural. This is what it looks like, and that's the front of it. So hope you like it. And of course, you know, highlighters, there's so many from so many different brands. I have a ton of them myself, but I just decided to use this one on Layla primarily because of the soft color. but I have some that are lighter and I have some that are darker. I have some that are pinkier, some that are golder. So it really depends on how you want the tone to look. So in addition to doing it on the bone right here on the cheekbone, we're also going to do a thin line down the bridge of the nose. I've already very lightly contoured the sides of her nose, and now I got a little product here, and I'm just going to very lightly roll it down the bridge of her nose, and then with a clean finger. So what I did here, I'm going to slow it down a bit. I roll down with the finger that has the product, and then I'm switching to a clean finger to just wipe the excess off. Because on the nose, I don't want it to look too shiny. I just want it to look like she has a glow. Now, this is appropriate for someone who wants an all-over glowing face. Now, I have a lot of clients, including Layla, who prefer an overall matte look with just a glow on the cheekbones and in certain peak areas. So in her case, sometimes I'll keep it more matte and just do a little bit of a glow in certain areas, but I do want to show you how it does look as a total dewy look. So I am going to show you down the bridge of the nose. I'm going to show you right here on the Cupid's bow, right in there. You can see that nice shine, that peak. And a small amount on the chin, very small amount. I don't like to make a very shiny chin, but just enough so that there's a little bit of a glow. And then, in addition, this is something that not a lot of people know about, but if you just add a little bit of highlight right above the eyebrow, up until the arch, it will look like an instant facelift.
Mm.
And it gorgeous.
Sounds great.
Bam! I said the keyword.
Perfect.
So right in here, mainly we're taught that if we do a shimmer underneath the brow, on the brow bone, that gives the brows a lift. But what will give the forehead a little bit of a lift? You want to put it right in here. And it actually makes the brows look cleaner. So I'm going to help her move from side to side so you can see. A little bit of that shimmer on the brow bone and a little bit on that cheek, and it just becomes this overall glow, and it's just so fabulous. It looks fresh and lively and youthful, and I mean, I'm a huge fan of this look, but a lot of people do ask me, do you use cream product for those shimmer stuff? And my answer is always no. I own a lot of cream shimmer products, but I don't use it on the face. I typically would use it for fantasy makeup. If you guys have seen my Halloween tutorial, it's actually still up right now on your members site. I used a cream pearlescent shiny base as the base of the mask. So for fantasy makeup, yes, I do use it. For day-to-day makeup, I like to mattify the face completely before adding any shimmer. So it would be horrible if I added a cream shimmer over such a matte and powdered look because it would start to get muddy. It's not going to smooth out. So I need to make sure that I'm not mixing creams after I've already put powders on. Once you put powders on, that's it. Everything that you use after that needs to be powder so it can glide on better. So in order for this powder product to look creamy, I'm using my fingers. So don't be afraid to use your fingers on your clients. As long as your hands are sanitized and you're not touching your nose and like doing weird things, you'll be okay. And plus it adds another connection, another level of connection with you and your client, and it makes you both feel comfortable with each other. And that human touch, nothing's better than that. The warmth of our finger makes this product glide so effortlessly and smoothly on the skin that she's literally looking like she woke up with a glow on her face. So that's why I use my hands a lot during the makeup process. Even during the blending process, I like to use my hands. So let's say if this was just too much bronzer for my client and she wanted it to be lighter, I would actually just soften it up, not by rubbing too hard with my finger, but just lightly brushing on the surface of the skin with my finger until it just lightens up a bit. Instead of going in with the brush, and then you're just basically swooshing everything off, and then you lose a lot of control that way. So I am a control freak. I like to use my hands. So I'm going to stop for just a second. I'm going to see if you guys have any immediate questions right now. I am going to do a question and answer after, but I do want to stop real quick just to make sure you guys are on the same page. And then I'm going to show you the blush portion. So on my Instagram, the last post that I've made, which is this post right here of the behind the scenes with my friend Laura doing the hair. Oh, it's not even focusing. Anyway, this picture. There we go. If you see this picture and you're on my Instagram, you can ask me any question on this picture and I'll periodically refresh it and read it so I can answer during the Q&A. But right now I want to just make sure that you guys are all on the same page here. And what type of skin would you avoid using highlighter and shimmer on? That's a very good question. The type of skin that I would avoid using the shiny stuff is skin that is naturally extremely oily, or skin that has a lot of deep, large pores, or skin that has a lot of deep wrinkles, even fine lines. I wouldn't use a lot of shimmer. The reason is because shimmer actually brings out those qualities of the skin. So you have to have a smooth base before you put on shimmer, which is also another reason why I like to layer products on my clients, even if they are already perfect, like Layla. I still want to make sure that everything is just beyond perfection. So, if someone has visible pores and a lot of lines around this area, I would not be putting on shimmer in those areas. Same with people, like I said, with very oily skin. If they're complaining of their oily skin and tell me, I tend to get really, really shiny throughout the day, then I would not be putting too much shimmer on them. I would focus more on having it matte so they can feel comfortable with themselves and enjoy a nice glow without the shimmer. If you saw my contouring class, I used the banana color from the Anastasia contour kit to do the highlight, and that gives you that same highlighted glow without the shimmer portion. So you can easily just change it up to a matte color. So I'm going to answer a couple more questions real quick. In case there's any issues here. Okay, I will talk about Layla's eye makeup and stuff right after class. What do you think of the Bobbi Brown shimmer bricks? I love them. They're awesome. I typically like a product that has all one color because I want to know that I can use that one color a lot and not be stuck with colors I don't want. So what I've noticed is when you're buying a shimmer product that has lots of different colors in one compact, I end up using the lighter colors or like the medium colors, and I don't use the darker colors. So I'd rather personally just buy one solid color of a color that I like, and also buy like some others of other colors that I like, and have multiple colors in my kit, rather than having one that's really small and then me running out of my favorite color over and over. What if the highlight looks too bright with fingers? Then don't pick up too much product with your fingers. Just dab product and then use that to roll it on. I like a lot of highlight, so I drag my finger over the product, over the compact, and I roll it on like that. But if you don't like too much of a bright highlight, you could A, use less product, or B, you can use a darker highlight, something not too white. Or C, you could just use a fluffy brush, something along, let's see, like this size, for example. This is a fluffing eyeshadow brush from Bobbi Brown. It's called the Eye Blender, and this would be nice to just blend a little bit of shimmer product on, especially if you're using a loose shimmer product. If you have a loose powder, I'm not a fan of loose powders, by the way. I feel like they're messy and I don't have my full control over them, and I have to be a little bit more like slow, and I have a flow. When I'm working, I'm just in my zone and I don't want anything stopping me from doing my thing. So that's why I like compacts better. But if you're working with a loose, and if you prefer a loose, then just use a big fluffy brush like this, and you can just blend it on that way, and it'll disperse a little bit smoother or a little bit thinner, so that it doesn't look as solid. Okay, let me grab some blushes for her, and I'm going to show you the blushes next. Go ahead and write down any final notes you want to write during this time. All right, guys. So typically with blushes, I have a palette that I want to share with you. I made it myself. It's from MAC. I mean, it's just an easy company to make palettes with because they have refills. I have a palette that I've basically split into two sections, warms and cools. Basically pinks and stuff, and then my plums and neutrals. And I love them because it's just easy for me to have everything in one traveling, compact. But I also have loose blushes, especially the limited editions from MAC. They don't come in a refill, so sometimes I have to either pry it out and stick it in my compact carrying palette, or I could just use it in my purse. So the brands that I like for blush is basically mainly MAC. I love Lancome blushes. They actually have a nice scent to it. Like it smells like roses. But I know some of you might be allergic to fragrance, so just be careful. Try it out and see if you like it. I love fragrance. I love a fragrance in my makeup. Other than that, I mean, blush is blush, basically. You can try so many from so many brands as long as they have. Oh, Milani Cosmetics. How funny! I have Layla Milani. She's not with Milani Cosmetics, but Milani Cosmetics at the drugstore has great blushes, and they're shimmery and they're baked blushes, so they have a lot of that mineral shimmer shine to it. Those are really cool too. But today we're going to be using MAC, and I am going to use my angled blush brush right here. This is a MAC angled blush brush. I believe the number is 163. I also use this brush like all the time, so it's rubbed off, but it is just their only angled blush brush. So I'm going to dip right into one of my favorite colors, which is called Buff. I'm going to show you right now. It's a beautiful, soft, matte, peachy pink. There's no shimmer in it. And I'm just going to take a really good amount here and go ahead and turn a little bit. Perfect. I'm literally just going to push it right in between her contour and her highlight. So right in between her contour and highlight line, I'm just pushing it right in, but I'm overlapping more with the contour. The reason I'm pushing it in is because I want a bigger color payoff. If you want a very soft blush and you don't want it to look so strong, then just dust it on like this, very lightly. But I'm pushing it in before I dust it because I want all the color to show. So I'm going in like that, and I know you can see it. It looks good. And then afterward, if you just want to soften up the edges, I just use the tip of the brush to just kind of soften up the edges so that you can't really see a major streak of color or anything. It just kind of looks like it's one with the skin. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. Just going to push it right into the skin. Until you're happy with the amount. So I'm going to have you go ahead and turn from side to side. You can see the color just kind of blending right into the contour and the highlight zones, and everything's looking amazing. Yay. And here's another little secret I have. I almost never use just one color blush. I like to mix a couple of colors at least. My main goal is to have 3 colors on her, but typically 2 colors would do the same trick. What I'm trying to show you is an ombre cheek. So as you know, I do a lot of ombre eyes, I do ombre eyebrows, I've done ombre lips on her where it's a little bit darker on the corner and lighter on the center. Everything I do is in a gradient. It's like from dark to light to dark. I don't like any color blocking randoms. I really want everything to look very, very intriguing and beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I've done now this medium color all over, and it has no shimmer in it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a color right to her apple, which is going to bring that youthful glow, that blood that rushes into children's cheeks when they're running. It's always right here in the front. So I'm going to bring that youthful quality back into her skin right up here by adding a pale pink. There's colors that I like, or even a pale peach. You know, it's totally fine. Whatever you want to go for. Basically, I base it on the lip color. So if the lips are a pinky color, I'll make sure the cheeks are more pinky. If the lips are more peachy, I'll make sure the cheeks are more peachy. I don't really have a lot of rules in makeup. I don't like to go by the rules. I'm a rule breaker in every sense of the word when it comes to makeup, as you can tell probably already. But the one kind of rule that I go by is to make sure the lips and the cheeks are balanced, at least in the undertone. It doesn't have to be the same color, but the undertone should be similar. So if the lips are warm, the cheeks should be a warm color. If the lips are cool, the cheeks should be a cool color. So basically, right now what I did on her is a nude. It's a neutral. It is a little bit more on the warm side, but it is a neutral. So in this case, we can go peachy, we can go pinky, we could do whatever we really want on the cheeks because it is a color that has really no color. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to whip out with the same brush, I'm going to whip out a color that I'm going to use for her apples. It is called Well Dressed. It is a very pale pink and it has a slight shimmer to it. And I'm going to have Layla go ahead and smile. The reason why I like it when my girls smile is because I can catch the peak of their smile and dust this color right over it. Bam. And go ahead and relax your cheek now. Now, I don't know if you can see this on camera. Maybe I'll do another layer so you can see it on camera. But in person, what it looks like is it looks like there's a beautiful color here, and it fades into this glowing color here. But it's not the same color glow as up here. It's almost like this color is fading into this glow, and then it's fading into the cheek color. So it becomes like this beautiful, seamless, radiant glow on the cheeks. So again, I make her smile huge, and I'm just applying it from the nostril to where I have the rest of the cheek color, and it basically just gives her that a little bit of a pinky glow right on the center, towards the center of her face. So now no matter where she's looking or how upset my bride is or whatever's going on a Bridezilla moment, she's still gonna look happy and she's still gonna look youthful. So no Bridezillas, honeys. We're gonna do the same thing on this side. Big smile, and I'm just rolling this color directly on her apple and into her blush. And she has this happy, happy glow. I mean, I'm literally glowing and beaming light.
I'm so happy.
She is happy, happy. All right, so that color was called Well Dressed. The original color we use is called Buff, B-U-F-F. Both are from MAC. Some other color suggestions I have, if you, instead of wanting like a soft pink glow over here, if you want more of a peachier glow, then there's a color called Margin, M-A-R-G-I-N. And that one is like more of, like it's similar to this, but it's a peach version, like a peachy bronze version. So you could totally use that on the apple, especially if someone had more of a medium to deeper skin tone. That would look really nice right on the apple. So those are the two colors I use on the apple, usually Well Dressed or Margin, depending on if I'm going cool or warm. And then for the rest of the cheek, I like Buff, like I said, I like Cheek, just Cheek. That's a really popular color of mine from MAC. And I also love Plum Foolery, spelled Fool and then E-R-Y. Plum Foolery, and those make some great all over tones. If you want to darken the blush, there's a color called Love Rush, which is like a really deep kind of a burgundy wine, and I use that on my Halloween model. The video's still up, to create a gradient under the mask, so that's how deep that color is. If you ever want to deepen up a blush, I have that to just darken up an existing blush color. So there you have it. I'm going to review what we just did in case you missed any of it. The first thing we did, of course, after the review of the contour and the highlight and all that stuff, was bronzing the skin. Sometimes what happens is after you do the contour and the highlight, you've set it all with powder, sometimes your client or yourself can look quite ghostly, so pale and so white. There's no color on the face, so it looks very odd. So sometimes I'll just go in and add a little bit of extra bronzer, which is what we did first in this class, is we added some extra bronzer using a small brush like this from Haku Hodo. It's this shape, and it's called J5521 from Haku Hodo. I know Sigma makes a similar brush, and I love theirs as well. I have the entire Sigma set, the copper set, and I know it's in there too, and it's one of my favorite brushes, except theirs have black hair. And I use that with the Havana contour color from the Anastasia Contour Kit, and I just roll it right on the whole cheekbone, all the way up into the hairline right here on the side of the forehead, just to give a little bit more color. And then whatever's left on the brush, I can dust it everywhere else in case it's really, really pale in those areas. After you bronze the skin, and again, this is an optional step. That's if someone wants a bronzer look. So after you bronze the skin, then we're going to add a shimmer highlight. Again, optional if someone wants a glow, which is what this class is all about, the glow. So I use the highlight, the shimmer highlight powder compact, with my fingers, and I roll it very softly, no pressure on her skin at all. I'm just gliding my fingertips, and I'm rolling it from this orbital bone on the outer part of her eye all the way to the corner of her nostril. That way, no matter what angle she's in, what paparazzi's taking, she's gonna look like she's glowing no matter what angle the picture is coming from. In addition to that, I also did a little bit above the eyebrow here, from the first half of the eyebrow, basically, not the second half, that's all bronzer. I just want to make sure this part is lifted, and then I go down the bridge of the nose, right here above the lip, and a little bit on the chin, so that she has all bases covered, but it's not like I threw on highlight all over her face. So she doesn't look like a grease ball. She just looks like she's glowing in a very beautiful way. So after the shimmer highlight is done with the fingertips, then I do the blush. And I know a lot of people switch those and do the blush first and then the highlight. I have no problem with you doing it in whatever order you like. I just consider the highlight as a part of the skin. So I like to get that done with first, and then I add color as a topical thing. And of course, with color, I also want to match it to the lips. So sometimes I have to do that a little bit later once I know what my client wants on her lips. Then I'll adjust the blush accordingly. As you know now, blush and lips should kind of go hand in hand as far as the undertone. So after the highlight, I do the blush. I can always go back and add more highlight if I feel like I've lost any of it, or if I feel like I really want to bring some more back to the surface. But again, now that you know how I feel about the whole highlight thing, I don't want the highlight to look like it's just like a streak of shine out of nowhere. I want it to look like, again, that it's one with the skin, which is why I do it as one of the steps before the actual color of the cheeks. So we're done with this portion of the class. It was simple, but it was a lot of really, really hidden techniques that no one really talks about, and I don't know if anyone really even does it like this. Comment on my page and let me know what kind of questions you have, or if you've tried it and if you like it. These are just some techniques that I have just tried on myself and thought, hey, why don't I try it on my clients since it works so well for me? And I realized, oh my God, the hand thing, the finger thing changed my life. Literally, like now on everyone, I use my fingers for the highlight, and I think it changed the way that pictures look. It changed the way my clients look in person. I mean, everything just changed with that. So these are techniques that took me literally 12 years to figure out, and I'm giving it to you in like 45 minutes. So I hope you do justice to these new techniques. Go off and try them. Try it on yourself. Try it on your clients. Try it on your friends. And enjoy it, and let me know what you think. Thank you again, Layla, for being here. You look absolutely amazing. Oh yeah, before I forget, you guys asked what else was on Layla. So
my eyes.
Your eyes and your lips. So eyes, basically, I love the whole glow look. You know, I kind of did the glow on myself too. So on her eyes, I used, of course, the Tamana palette. I'll show you which colors I used. Here they are. And I used chocolate in her crease. I used a little bit of noir just in the outer corner, but mainly chocolate. I didn't want to deepen it too much. And I used Bengal in the upper crease. And I'll show you on her as well where each of these goes. And I mixed Gilded and Custom to create a very nice mix between like a silvery and a gold color for her eyelid. And then after that, I added a little bit of glitter. So again, right out here, why don't we get a little closer? Are we able to get a little closer? Yeah. And then tilt head up a little bit. Yep, perfect. So right out here and in the crease, I did Chocolate from the Tamana palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's still, by the way, it's still available on AnastasiaBeverlyHills.com, but very few left. Most stores have already sold out, and they're not going to make it anymore. So this is kind of it. Chocolate in the crease, a hint of noir right in here just to deepen the chocolate, and a hint of Bengal right above the chocolate to blend it up into the brow bone. And on the lid, I've applied Gilded and Custom to create a mix of silver and gold so it wasn't too gold. And then I added the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Liner. Basically just use the tip of the brush and glide it all throughout her eyelid.
And then I noticed you did use your fingers.
Yeah, I patted it down to make sure that it wasn't just sticking out and none of the product would just loosen up. And then on her eyeliner, I used the Girlactic Liquid Liner. I have a ton of liquid liners, by the way. You'll see me throughout this course that I'm going to change it up. But this is the Girlactic Liquid Liner pen. I use it on the top. And on the bottom, I use the LA Girl Cosmetics black eyeliner. It's the Gel Glide Eye Pencil. It looks like this, the Pro Glide. From LA Girl Cosmetics, and that's right on the bottom of her eyes. I also set it with Noir and Chocolate eyeshadows from my palette. And on her eyebrows, it's just Anastasia's Brow Wiz pencil in Brunette. And what else did we do? Lips is Morning Coffee lip liner from MAC, and I mixed Myth from MAC on the center of her lip to add that ombre effect. So it's a little bit darker on the corners and brighter in the center. And then that's about it. Oh, lashes. We did House of Lashes in Siren. as her lash, and I added a bunch of mascara over it to really make it stand up and pop. And she has some individuals on underneath as well. So we really did a fabulous lash on her. Again, it's houseoflashes.com and Siren. Those are kind of my go-to like daily lash kind of a deal. Like it just gives a really nice fluttery effect. And that's it. That's her face. That's her eyes and her face. So I'm going to let this beautiful lady go.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for being here. And I'm going to go ahead and answer your Q&As at this time. And we just make sure all is well on your end. And I'm going to check my post real quick. I will be right back. You go ahead and write whatever file notes you have.
Should I grab my?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let me grab everything for you.
Yeah, let's.
Don't walk you out.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll talk to you.
Mwah.
Bye. All right, guys. How'd you like that? Wasn't she just gorgeous? My goodness. I absolutely love her. I absolutely love her. Let me bring the light a little closer so you can see my makeup as well. And I can talk about what I'm wearing too, since I know that's going to be one of the questions. Okay. So I have the Tamana palette on my eyes as well. And on top of that, instead of adding loose glitter, I added the Stila heavy metal, not heavy metal, what's it called? The metallic, let me show you. It'll be easier for me to just show you what it is. It's called the Magnificent Metal. And the color is called Vintage Black Gold. Vintage Black Gold. Looks like this. It's really gorgeous. And I used that on the lid. So after I did basically the same thing that I did on Layla, on myself, but instead of keeping the whole lid light and bright, I darkened it up with this lovely product right here. So let me go ahead and answer some questions. I know I have until 7, but we went, I wanted to make sure that I reviewed with you guys the tips from the contour class, since I get that question a lot. So we are going to go a little overtime if that's okay with you guys. So we'll end it at 7:15 instead of 7 o'clock. So hopefully you'll be okay. And if you're not, you will be able to see this for 72 hours after we upload it. It usually takes about a day to upload because the files are so big. We're shooting it in HD. So when we're uploading it so that we can give you the best quality possible, it's such a huge size. So it does take some time to upload and to render and do all that lovely stuff before we can get it out there for you guys. So thank you for your patience. And please do understand, yeah, it is going to take about a day or so to get it up. Hopefully we can find a faster way, but then I don't want to lose out on quality. I want to make sure you guys get the best quality. So, okay, time for the Q&A. Oh my God. There's like almost 400 questions on here. Let's see. Oh yeah, there was a question about the camera for the actual shooting. Again, like I said, everything's shot in HD, but when we stream it live, it has to be a little bit lower than HD for the live portion, only because people's internet speeds will make it buffer and stop and freeze. And I don't want my content to freeze on you guys when you're using it live. So it needs to be at a level where all of you guys can see it smoothly without having to rebuffer all the time and freeze all the time, so it can just go. If it's still freezing on you, it's because your internet speed is just slow for that moment, or has slowed down for a second, or maybe it's just a slower speed altogether and unable to handle the quality of the video that we're projecting out. But just know that later on when we do upload it, it is going to be uploaded in a video file on the website in a high HD format. So make sure you do have a high-speed internet connection so you can see it without it freezing. And again, like if you guys are seeing it now and saying, okay, it's not very clear, just hold on for a day, and once we upload the actual file on the website, it will be fully HD and you'll be able to see every little detail. Up close and personal. Alright, so can you explain the different ways to apply blush for different face shapes, skinny, long versus round face? So if someone has a very skinny, long face, I usually try to apply blush in a more horizontal direction to add width to the face. And if somebody has a very like round face, then I add it in more of an angular up and down angle to go like that. So it's kind of similar to the contouring. So with contouring, the same. You know, if someone's face is round, then you're going to go in an up and down kind of an angle. If someone's face was already long, then you want to go more into a horizontal angle like this, so that it looks a little bit wider. And which company has a good black eyeliner that you would recommend? There's so many different types of eyeliner, so I'm going to rattle off some of my favorites. For gel eyeliner, my favorite is Inglot number 77 from their AMC gel liner line. It's the blackest black I've used so far. I'm in love with it. It's a little hard to use though because it does dry up and it gets a little hard on the brush. So you have to make sure your brush is always clean in between applications, and that your liner isn't drying up on your hand when you're picking it up. So make sure when you pick up the liner and put it on your hand and then use your brush, that you're picking up a good chunk of it so it stays wet. And you're not spreading it all over your hand before you're applying it on the eye. You need to just spread it a little bit, but don't spread the whole thing, otherwise the whole thing's going to dry on your hand and you're wasting product. So that's one tip that I have for the AMC gel liner from Inglot. As far as pencils, my favorite black pencil liner, or any pencil liner, is the Pro Glide, the Gel Glide pencil from LA Girl Cosmetics. It feels like a gel, but it's in a pencil form, so it glides on the skin and on the eyes, and once you let it set, it becomes waterproof and smudge proof, and it comes in like every color. So, and they're very inexpensive. LA Girl Cosmetics is so affordable. It's one of my favorites, and also such a great quality. So that's what I use for the pencil. And then for liquid liner and gel tip, I use like Girlactic I just got, and I'm a new fan of Girlactic. So I use their felt tip pen liner. And I also use the LA Girl felt tip pen. Theirs are much skinnier. So I have multiple because they're different sizes, right? So later on, like once you get to the Arabic eye class, which is in a few more episodes, you'll see why I love the LA Girl Cosmetics gel liquid liner, the felt tip one, because it's so skinny. You can make those little wings very easily, where other ones that are thicker is better for like the whole top line. And what else? I really like, those are my two favorites actually. Lancome has a really good one called Art Liner, and it's a felt tip pen as well. It's super black. It's gorgeous. It's a little on the, it's pretty pricey, and it does run out kind of faster than some of the others that I've used, but it's such a beautiful black. It's a nice full black that I've just really liked it. And it a lot of times what happens is, you know, when you're using a gel liner and then the liquid starts to run out of the gel liner and you're like, oh my god, I'm drawing and like nothing's coming out. The Lancome one is, the product is in the actual cap. So it's actually dipped into product. So when you take it out, it doesn't run out. It stays very wet when you're using it. So that's one of the reasons why I like the Art Liner from Lancome as well. What was the name of the Urban Decay Heavy Metal that you used on Layla's eyes? That color was called Midnight Cowboy. It's the gold one. Oh, what model and brand is my makeup chair? This chair, I'll get up so you can see it. You can probably see it in the reflection of the mirror. It is actually a bar stool. It is a bar stool from Coaster, and one of my dear friends from the Bay Area, she owns a furniture shop, and she was able to order these for me through her shop. And she has an Instagram. It's called By Design Consignment, and they have, they basically furnished my whole home. Like my bed's from there. My furniture is from there, except for the mirrorless thing is from IKEA. But like all my beautiful like mirrored stuff, like over here, I'll show you, like my mirror table here, that's also from By Design Consignment. And yeah, so most of my stuff is from their store. My chandeliers from there. So that's pretty much my favorite place to shop. They ship. So find their Instagram, buy design consignment, and they ship worldwide, and they can give you a really good deal. Just let them know you found them on my page. Let's see, what else? How do you prevent under eye creasing? I use very little concealer. I make it very flat. Like, I don't like to pile on too much concealer. And then I apply a lot of full coverage powder over it to set it. And that way, the ratio of more powder, less cream is going to prevent it from moving around and creasing too much. However, you cannot do that on really mature skin because their eyes are a little crinkly and wrinkly, and when you apply too much powder on their eyes, it ends up looking very dry and showing off the wrinkles a little bit more. So you want to stay away from using too much powder on older skin. Let me see here. How do you sanitize your mascara? I noticed you didn't use a disposable wand in your mask class. I never use disposable wands. I actually cannot stand disposable wands because I believe that a mascara is not just about the product inside. It's about the wand. It's a 50-50, you know. If you don't have the right way to apply it, the right tool to apply the mascara, you're not going to get that full effect. And I understand we're using false lashes anyway, but before I put on the false lash, I want to make sure the actual lashes are in the perfect stance and the perfect thickness so that when I put on the false lashes, it just sits right on top of it and it can flow right in it. I very rarely will use extra mascara over the false lashes because I do so well with real lashes and I build them up really big that the false lashes just blend in really nicely naturally and I don't have to add mascara to it. And that way you're adding the longevity of your false lashes because you're not putting so much gunk on them. So when you remove the false lashes, they're still like almost clean and you just have to clean it a little bit, maybe the glue, and then you can reuse it more. As far as sanitizing, when you're going to do it like that, there's no real sanitizing. There is a spray that you can use that is basically alcohol that you can spray it with, but then it's going to ruin the consistency of your mascara. So honestly, you're not hearing it from me. This is not at all what State Board, this is why I say I'm a rule breaker. This is not what State Board says to do. Obviously, you're supposed to be, mascara wands and all this stuff, but in the real world, I would say 90% of us, we use mascara straight because we know the value of a true mascara wand that matches its formula is going to be the best result on your client's lashes. You just have to be smart about making sure that you're not going into anyone with red eyes or pink eyes. I'm not saying if they have pink eye, but if you can see that they're having some allergy issues or their eyes aren't very clear or there's any little issues going on, then definitely whip out a new mascara for them and just label it as their mascara, especially if they are a regular client. You can keep using that mascara on them, or if they have an active infection, unfortunately, you're not supposed to work on them at all. So unless they have their own eye makeup for you to use, you're going to have to turn them down as a client, unfortunately. I know it's kind of embarrassing. Usually if a client has an active infection in their eye, they wouldn't even come to the appointment. They would explain to you, unfortunately, this is what's going on, I can't do it. But let's say it's their wedding day. They can't help it. They need to have their makeup on. So in that case, I'll use their own products, their own eye brushes. Everything else, I'll use mine. But for the eye area, you can just stick with their stuff and just work under the circumstances. But yes, I do not use mascara wands. I hate them. I will not use them. I have some for emergency purposes if I really need to. In that case, I can always just dip if someone has an issue with their eyes or very, very sensitive, I can always dip a clean mascara wand into the product. But again, it's contaminated anyway. So I would tell my client, let's whip out your own mascara. Just make sure it's waterproof because I don't like to use non-waterproof mascara. So that's my answer. Bad girl. My nose slightly overlaps my tear duct. How can I highlight my tear duct without me getting on my nose? Well, the way that you can separate your nose bridge from your tear duct, what she's saying is that her nose bridge is like close to her tear duct. Like it's a little bit flatter. It's not as separated. Like my tear duct here is kind of far from the bridge of my nose. But if yours are kind of closer together or your nose bridge is a little wider and it starts to overlap with your tear duct from a wider nose, what you would do is focus more on the contour highlight on the nose. So basically for the contour, you would contour your nose a little skinnier and highlight just the center of that, and then highlight the tear duct, and it will look more separated because of the brown line you're creating from the contour of your, by contouring your nose slimmer. So try that trick, hopefully it should do it. Some people are saying that the video stopped. It's still running. If it stops, you'll definitely be able to see it on the recording. It's probably the internet connection that you're running with right now. What shades of foundation and concealer did you use on Layla? I used, it was MAC foundation in NC25, and I used the same color concealer on her, and then for the highlight and contour, I used Classic Ivory for the highlight. On myself, I use Creamy Beige. For her, I use Classic Ivory as her highlight, and then her contour is Beautiful Bronze from LA Girl Cosmetics. What blush goes well with a vampy lip? Okay, so for lips that are nice and dark blacks, plums, burgundies, reds, really deep vampy lips, just focus more on the contour and highlight portion of the cheeks rather than adding a total blush. Again, like I said, blush and lips should kind of go hand in hand, but if your lips are that dark, if you want, you can add a plum, kind of a plummy blush if your lips have a plum undertone to it or a berry undertone to it. But normally what I would do is just overdo the contour a little bit and just use a bronzer to look like the blush in that case. Another option is to use a nude blush, something like Buff, like I used on Layla earlier, but it turns a little peachy. So again, I would stick to more of that contour highlight look for the cheeks and not do too much blush if you're going for a vampy lip. That way the focus will be on the lip rather than on the cheeks anyway. So it'll be like nude here, a little bit of contour here, and then nice and dark lips. What's the difference between contouring and bronzing? What's the difference between eye glitter and eye pigments? So what I mean by contouring and bronzing, it's actually with the same products. It's all with the contour kit that I'm using from Anastasia Beverly Hills, but I'm using it in different ways. For contouring, I'm using a cream product first, I'm blending it, and then I'm setting it with a powder. So I'm not really adding too much, topical coats of bronzer. What I mean by bronzer is the topical coats. What happens after I set the skin, then I want to bronze and add a little bit more color. So I can use the same product, but the way I'm applying it and the position of what I'm applying kind of turns, for me, more into a bronzing effect rather than contour highlight. Contour highlight is all in zones, and it doesn't cross over each other's zone. But for bronzing, what I mean by bronzing is that I can cross over into the highlight zone with some bronzer just to give it a little bit more color if I feel like she's too light or too bright. So that's the only thing I mean between highlight and bronzer. I mean, contour and bronzer. The same product, but the placement's different, and the whole, like, where you're going to get out of it is going to be a little different. Again, like I said, bronzer, we could do it for all over glow, for that bronze effect, for that skin that looks like you just came from a vacation, versus contour, which is just in certain areas, and then you have the highlight contrasting with it. And then the other question was the difference between the glitters and the pigments. Eye pigments can be with glitter or without. It's all loose product. So with any loose products, you can use it over a sticky base, an eye glitter glue, or you can mix it with a gel product to create like a paste and apply it. There's a lot of ways to do the pigments, but basically the difference is like one is glitter and one is a powder. Some of them are shimmer powders. It looks like it's glitter, but when you put it on, it just looks smooth. It doesn't have that chunky glitter effect. So that means it's not a glitter. It's just an eyeshadow that's shiny and it's crushed into a pigment, and that's what it basically looks like, and that's basically what it is. Whereas glitter, it's basically pieces of metallic plastic cut into tiny, tiny pieces, and it's chunkier. So you basically have a much more reflective look than with regular pigment. Are you familiar with the MAC Pro Sculpt and Shape powders? Would they be able to replace the Anastasia Beverly Hills powders, which colors and product from it? I have some. I mean, they're okay. I I like the Anastasia ones because they are more pigmented and they have more tones. Like they have an entire range. If you go on AnastasiaBeverlyHills.com, they have a color wheel of all their powder colors. If you click on customize your contour kit, it'll tell you all the colors that you can customize with it. And there's so many shades, it's unbelievable. Like you can get any shade for any skin tone on that. Whereas at MAC, it's like just a handful of shades that you can choose from. And a lot of them have a gray undertone and can look really dirty on the skin. Or some of them are just too pink and it ends up looking red on the skin. So, and also, the pigments are not the same. The ones from MAC, the Sculpt powders, are a little bit more of a sheer to buildable coverage, where the Anastasia Beverly Hills powders are a full pigment. So you can use it sheer if you want, or you can use it full if you want. And you don't have to build too much to get that full. You can just take more product and slap it on, and it becomes this amazing full coverage product. So my personal opinion is that I like theirs only because they have more colors and better. Like I said, I like cake on cake on cake. So I like something that has more pigment to it. And I'm not very familiar with the colors of the Sculpt. From MAC, I just bought whatever they had online, a few of them a while back, and I played with it maybe a few times, but as soon as Anastasia's came out, I just put that away in storage and kept the Anastasia in my kit. How to contour a bigger nose with a rounder end bridge? Basically, so they're asking how you contour a nose with a bulbish tip. What I do is I ignore the wideness and the roundness of this. I just draw my two straight lines and I go all the way straight. I don't widen it around the tip. When I draw my two straight lines of contour, I bring them all the way to the tip, ignoring the wideness. I go right over it, and I connect the bottom and I connect the top so I can make a smaller tip. And then that way it just looks like a photoshopped nose. The magic of makeup. Crazy, crazy. What can you do when your client goes to the beach or for whatever reason her skin is flaking off her face if the makeup doesn't look weird? Honestly, she has to scrub it. I mean, I've had some clients come over with some peeling skin and I just straight up had to tell them the makeup is not going to look right on you because your skin it can't sit on loose skin, flaking skin that's coming off. And the smooth highlight over it, like if you use shimmer, it's going to look so choppy and weird because there's some parts of her skin that are lifting from the flakes and some that are flat. So you're not going to get that smooth glow like we normally get if the skin is not flaking. So I just let her know if there's any way that she can just quickly scrub her skin. I do have exfoliants and stuff. I mean, obviously this is something that she should have done at home before coming to your appointment. But you know, if they do give you a warning and text you and say, hey, my skin's flaking, what do I do? Just tell them to buy a very gentle daily scrub from the drugstore and just try to scrub it off without irritating her skin. Do it for a few days and see if the flakes go away. And then make sure you moisturize well at night and during the day as well. Use a lot of sunblock, of course. If you're going to be back in the sun, you don't want to peel even more or get red even more. And then when you come to the appointment, if you're still peeling, then just stay away from shimmer shades. Stick with matte for their skin. Keep it all matte. Be careful with your highlight and contour that you're not going any rigid areas. Just be very soft with your application and focus more on applying more cream product to try to fill in. Use a lot of silicone-based primer underneath her makeup to try to smoothen as much as you can. But again, don't use too much shimmer because it will show the dryness again. I have just a few more minutes left of Q&A. How do you control oily skin from showing after you apply foundation? I use a lot of powder, a lot. So I just layer on powder, and the way I apply it is in a stamping motion so that it is like almost like I'm doing pressed powder on someone, and it sticks to the foundation really well and it keeps it from getting too oily. So when the oils rise, all that powder that you smack on them is going to absorb the oil so they don't look too shiny later. Of course, primers make a big difference, so you can get a primer specifically for oily skin. Do you use lip primers or anything to neutralize discolored lip tone? I don't necessarily have like a lip primer that I use. What I use is just whatever's left on the concealer brush or the foundation brush. I go over the lips while I'm applying it on them, and it ends up going on their lips anyway, and it neutralizes their skin tone. If their lips are really dark, like purplish tone, then you can use more of an orange-based concealer to brighten up that tone around their mouth. And then when you apply, a little bit of powder over it, just so it doesn't stay too creamy, you can just apply a little bit of powder over it, and it'll stay as a primer. And then you can apply the lip liner and lipstick and lip gloss, and it'll look like as good as new. I'm gonna just look through some more questions here. I'm sorry, I don't know of any MAC dupes for Anastasia Beverly Hills Golden Peach. It kind of looks like NC42 from the Studio Fix powders. It's kind of like that, but it's brighter. Like it just has a brightening effect to it. So I don't know if there's anything exact at MAC. Correcting dark under eye circles and eye bags. I talked about this during my last few Q&As as well, but I want to make sure I touch on that again since it's such a popular question. I use orange tone concealers to brighten dark under eyes. So you know how I just talked about the lips? If it's dark and pigmented, you can use an orange tone to hide it. Using an orange tone under the eyes, if you have dark circles there, will also brighten up the eyes, and then you can use whatever color highlight and contour that they normally use. Just use it right over it to blend it in so it doesn't look orange. Use a lot of brightening powder like the Anastasia's contour kit, the Golden Peach color, because it is like I actually mix it with, on myself, I use Golden Peach mixed with Banana from the Anastasia contour kit under my eyes to set my concealer nowadays, because Banana to set the concealer is yellow, right? So if I'm using an orange concealer, I'm only making it more yellow, and I want to keep that orange peachy tone. So I'll add, but I love the yellow because it's so brightening, and it makes me look more awake. So I'll mix the Banana with the Golden Peach to give me enough of that peach undertone to keep it bright without going too yellow or too shallow with the color. That always helps me. And just one last question. Oh, someone wants me to do a bonus video of Ariana Saeed's hairstyle. I will try my best to do a hairstyle video of that particular hairstyle. That's the Hollywood wave. It was similar to Layla Milani's hair today, except one part was clipped up. So I do want to show you that eventually. Do you ever use powder puffs to stamp on your powder? No. I don't really have a lot of like accessory stuff. I mainly use my hands and my brushes for most things. So the brush, if you want to stamp on powder somewhere on the face, the brush that I would suggest for stamping powder would be like this one, for example. This is MAC's 136 brush. It's like a powder fluff. It's like flat. So when I just drag it, I feel like I'm turning. If I just drag it along my compact powder and then just press it on the face, it's like I'm using a pressed powder sponge or something, and you're able to get that effect without really messing up their makeup because it is nice and thin and flimsy. You can get a nice effect out of it. Again, this is MAC number 136. What I use mainly to press powder in is a smaller one so I can do it by zone. For those of you who know or don't know, now I can tell you, again, I repeated this in the beginning of class as well. When I set with powder, I set with 3 different color powders. I set my light zones with a light color powder, my dark zones with a dark color powder, and my medium zones in between with a medium color powder. So I cannot use a big brush like this because it's going to go over all the other zones. That's why I use this little baby. This is the number 109 brush from MAC, and I just press it in between whatever zones that I need to use it in, and it's pretty small, so it's very condensed and gives you a nice full coverage of powder without messing up the other zones around it. So these are the brushes for that. And I also wanted to explain a little bit more about the way the classes work for those of you who are new. Thank you so much for joining us for today's class. Again, such a pleasure being able to teach everyone in such a wide audience, especially to those who aren't able to get a one-on-one lesson with me and those who just want to learn for themselves and want to up their game with makeup or maybe just learn some fun things. I think this is a great way for me to reach out to most of you who have internet connection and are able to view me, so that I can make sure that all of you are happy and can, practice some new stuff and have fun. So the way this thing actually works is basically, it's like a magazine subscription. When you sign up, when you sign up for a magazine subscription, for example, they don't give you all the previous issues of like that time. You start at the time and you see everything following that. The cool thing about what we're doing is we're also doing the 72-hour video review for you guys, because I understand that a lot of you are on the other side of the world and most of you are sleeping right now or just barely waking up, or some of you are at work and can't see it live all the time. This is a long video. It's like an hour and a half usually, an hour to an hour and a half, sometimes longer. I try to keep it within an hour though. I know all of you are busy and some of you are moms and you have lives. So anyway, I have this 72-hour thing just as a courtesy to make sure that, if you can't see me live, maybe the next day or the day after, you can log in at a time that suits you and watch it. My preference is that when you see me live, that you're just writing notes and making sure that you're asking all the questions that you can ask during the Q&A and getting all the information that you need and being very detailed and paying attention to what I'm doing on camera. And then you can always watch it again later and fast forward some parts and rewind some parts when it's up for you to review, once it's uploaded on your members page. And then you can actually practice it. If you want to practice it hands-on on a client or on yourself, put me right in front of you, put another mirror right in front of you, and practice as you go along and kind of play with the stuff. That way, when you see me live, you can see the products that I'm using and get prepared to know what you're about to do later, and then you can practice it later with your notes or with me playing in the background. Now, when new members come in, if they come in within that 72-hour time period that a video is up, they will be able to see that video, but not if that video is already gone and then they come in after a class. So again, it's like a magazine subscription. You see everything once you sign in, and once you begin, everything beyond that or everything within that time range, you will be able to see. So let's say you start at the end of the month. It doesn't mean you're going to see all the classes from that month unless there's something within that 72-hour period that you walk into, then you can see it. But you will be able to see, like basically when you start your subscription, it starts on a specific date, right? So let's say you start on October 15th. You will have your recurring cycle on the 15th of every month. So you'll see everything after that in that 30-day period, and then your subscription keeps renewing until you want it to stop. So that's why I can't do it by month. That's why those of you who are here, some of you that are new weren't able to see the contouring video, because that was for people who signed up at that time, or within the 72-hour period that it was up. It was actually up for longer because we wanted to make sure it was up through the whole weekend for people who weren't able to sign in. But the good news is I am going to be able to review a lot of topics with you and do new episodes, refresher episodes of past topics. And I know because contour and highlight is such an important topic, I will want to review it every once in a while. So don't worry, you guys are, especially if you have a year plan, you are definitely going to have a review time to take all the notes and do a contouring step-by-step with me. And of course, I do list all my products on my Instagram page. You have everything right in front of your fingertips. You're able to see it that way as well. But again, a reason why we can't keep it up for more than 72 hours is because when new members come and they sign up later, we can't have them have this whole time in front of them that they're going to see the rest of the videos that they've paid for, and then also see videos that they didn't pay for yet and that you guys all paid for. But then when they come in later, they're going to get 2 months worth, and I'm trying to keep it fair for everyone. So, and I'm trying to keep this as low price as possible, which is why it's $19 right now, and it's going to go up back to regular price at $29 for new members who sign up after this month. But now that you guys are locked in, you're good. You're going to keep that $19 a month until you cancel, and you're golden, and you have that amazing price. So I'm glad you guys came when you came, because the sale ends on the 31st. So if your friends want to sign on and do this thing, let them know the sale ends on October 31st. And after that, the prices are going to go back up to $29 a month or $250 a year instead of the $19 and $150 that you guys are getting as a special this month. So anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for being a part of this. I'm having so much fun talking to you live, answering your questions. Being interactive is like a whole new way of life for me, and I absolutely love it. It beats YouTube times a billion. Like YouTube, I can't even go into detail like this and answer questions at all. This is just so fun for me, and I hope it's fun for you. And I'm loving the positive feedback in the comments. And I want to thank you guys also for watching that Halloween bonus. I hope you guys liked it. I got a lot of love for that. That video is still up. So after class, if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and log in. You know, keep yourself logged into this class, and you'll be able to see the Halloween tutorial before it goes down. I think it's going to either go down tomorrow or day after, I'm not sure, but you have some time to watch that, and that was a very intricate, kind of crazy video, and then this one's going to be up once it's uploaded, hopefully by tomorrow it'll be uploaded, and then from there you'll have a full 72 hours to watch this one again, and then stay tuned for the next episode. The whole class schedule is right on your members page. You'll have all those dates and times so you can plan ahead and know that every class from now on is going to have a 72-hour window for you to rewatch. I listened to your wishes, and I know that 48 hours was a little quick, so I extended it to 72 after talking with my partners, and we all feel like that's a good number for you to work off of. And because we give you the dates and times ahead of time, it's all listed, you guys can kind of plan ahead and make sure that you have that down. So thank you guys again. I will see you soon for the next episode, and stay tuned for any bonus class announcements. It will all be announced on my Instagram page and in your email addresses. Keep a lookout for the emails from my team to keep you updated on the latest and greatest news from Dress Your Face Live. Thank you. Mwah. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.